On quiet evenings, when Hogwarts settles into its soft and drowsy rhythm, a hush drifts through the ancient corridors like a gentle exhale. Tonight, the castle feels especially peaceful, wrapped in a blanket of cool twilight as lanterns glow along the walls, casting warm golden halos on the stones that have held centuries of whispered secrets. Outside, a light fog rests over the Black Lake, and the distant lights of Hogsmeade twinkle like sleepy embers beneath the soft blue sky. This is a night meant for quiet discoveries, the kind that do not shout, but hum gently, inviting curiosity with a touch of softness. And somewhere beyond the castle gates, down the familiar path that leads toward the snowy rooftops and winding lanes of Hogsmeade Village, there lies a story that has long been forgotten, tucked between memories like a misplaced bookmark waiting to be found again. Tonight, we return to that story. A story about a place that many students walked past without ever noticing. A shop that hid itself in plain sight, wrapped in silence, patient as the moonlight. A shop that once thrived with magic, and then vanished from memory, leaving only a trace of soft enchantment lingering in the air. The Forgotten Wand Shop of Hogsmeade, a place where wandwood whispered, stardust gathered in corners, and forgotten spells longed to be remembered. But for now, let us move gently. Imagine the soft crunch of snow beneath your feet as you step into Hogsmeade's evening air. The warm lights of honeydukes glow in the distance. The 3 broomsticks' windows shimmer with faint amber light. Students laugh softly, bundled in scarves, their breath rising like mist, while owls swoop overhead with lazy grace. Yet among these familiar sights, there is a narrow alleyway tucked behind Gladrag's wizardware, so narrow that unless you turned your head at just the right angle, you'd never see it. And at the end of that alley stands a wooden door with a faded sign, its letters half erased by time and winter winds. Most walk right past it, most forget it exists. But tonight, our characters will not. On nights like this, when the wind moves softly through the trees surrounding Hogwarts, Ron Weasley often finds himself drifting toward moments of quiet curiosity. He never intends to wander, not really, but something in the evening air always seems to call him. And tonight, as the warmth of the Gryffindor common room fades behind him and the castle settles into peaceful stillness, Ron feels that familiar tug again. Gentle, patient, inviting. Ron has grown taller this year, though he still slouches without noticing. His hair remains that same brilliant shade of Weasley red, unruly and warm, glowing softly in the dim corridors. And though he often insists he's not particularly extraordinary, he carries a heart full of loyalty, a sense of humor that brightens even the darkest corners of Hogwarts, and a curiosity that sprouts quietly in unexpected moments. As he wraps his maroon scarf around his neck, he glances over his shoulder to see Hermione Granger approaching with a book held close to her chest. Hermione's presence always brings a sense of gentle steadiness. Her curls frame her thoughtful face, and her eyes shine with that familiar curiosity, not sharp or hurried tonight, but soft and dreamy, as though her thoughts are wandering somewhere just beyond reach. "I thought I'd find you here," she murmurs in a hushed voice, careful not to disturb the castle's sleepy quiet. "Couldn't sleep again?" Ron gives an easy shrug, the kind that says everything without saying what at all. "Just felt like walking. The air's nice tonight." Hermione smiles, the corners of her eyes warm with affection and understanding. She steps beside him, matching his pace as they walk through the corridor, lit by quiet floating candles. Each flame flickers gently, casting warm ripples of light across the stone floor. Harry joins them a moment later, appearing from around the staircase with hands buried in his pockets. His glasses catch the soft glow of the lanterns, giving him that familiar look of thoughtful alertness. But tonight, even he feels calmer, as though the castle is cradling them in a blanket of peaceful enchantment. "You two are wandering again, huh?" Harry says, though his tone carries no judgment, only that gentle humor that appears when he is among the people he trusts most. "Couldn't sleep either," Hermione replies, tapping the spine of her book. "Something about tonight feels different." And it does. They can all sense it, not in a foreboding way, but in a soft, mysterious shimmer, like the moment before a driftwood reveals itself. As they step into the courtyard, the night greets them with a cool, quiet breeze. Snowflakes drift down lazily, glowing faintly under the lanterns. Ron watches them fall, each one delicate and peaceful, and he feels that familiar tug again, the pull that seems to guide him towards something forgotten, something waiting quietly in the shadows. Harry and Hermione sense it too, though none of them speaks it aloud. Their steps, calm and unhurried, guide them toward Hogsmeade, toward a discovery that none of them expects, yet all of them are quietly ready for. The forgotten shop awaits, though they do not yet know it. And so, with the gentle glow of lanterns reflecting in the snow, and a peaceful night settling over Hogwarts and the village below, this tale begins, softly, quietly, as though waking from a long sleep. Before we step further into the calm mystery of Hogsmeade and its forgotten shop, I invite you to take a slow breath and relax into the story. If you enjoy these dreamy journeys through the wizarding world, feel free to like the video, subscribe, or explore more tales whenever you wish. But for now, let the adventure unfold gently at its own peaceful pace. For tonight, we rediscover the forgotten wand shop. The snow fell in soft, sleepy patterns around the trio as they walked slowly along the dimly glowing path that led toward Hogsmeade. The world felt wrapped in a gentle hush, as though every sound had been muffled by a spell designed specifically for quiet nights like this one. Ron, Harry, and Hermione walked side by side, their footsteps sinking softly into the freshly powdered ground. Even the usually lively Hogsmeade village felt different tonight. The windows that normally sparkled with welcoming candlelight were dim, though not unpleasantly so, more like the soft closing of eyelids after a long day. There was no wind whistling through the chimneys, no chatter from late-night visitors, no flicker of bustling movement. Everything seemed to be resting. "Well, that's odd," Hermione murmured gently, her breath forming a delicate cloud in the cool air. "Even for winter evenings, it's never this quiet." Ron nodded, though he didn't feel unsettled, just curious. There was something comforting about the stillness, something that made the snowy road feel like a long, shimmering ribbon guiding them toward a gentle secret. Harry slowed his pace, scanning the village with calm interest. Feels like the whole place fell asleep. And perhaps, in its own magical way, it had. The three of them wandered past familiar shops. Honeyduke's with its frosted windows, Zonko's with its sleepy shadows, the Three Broomsticks with its door gently closed, as though tucked in for the night. Everything seemed wrapped in a dreamy silence. The lanterns along the street shone with a soft golden haze, their flames swaying just slightly, as though breathing. The night didn't feel empty. It felt expectant. Hermione tugged her scarf a little closer. There's something... She paused, searching for the right word. Something lingering in the air tonight. Like a whisper we haven't heard yet. Ron blinked snowflakes off his lashes and looked down the quiet street. Do you feel that too? Like something wants us to find it? Harry gave a light nod. Yeah, almost like we're being guided. They continued, neither hurried nor hesitant, letting their steps follow wherever the soft, unseen pull wanted to take them. The snowflakes glowed faintly under the moonlight, swirling around them in gentle spirals. The village was beautiful in the stillness, peaceful, hushed, and wrapped in a dreamlike quiet. They reached the far end of Hogsmeade when something brushed Ron's senses, a moment so soft he wasn't sure if he imagined it, a flicker of warmth, almost like the faint glow of a candle behind a wall. He turned his head ever so slightly. "Did you see that?" he whispered. Hermione followed his gaze. "See what?" Ron took a few slow steps forward. There, between the shops, between Madame Puttyfoot's tea shop and Scrivenshaft's quill shop, where there had always been only a narrow alley and a brick wall, something shimmered. Not brightly, just a subtle, silvery ripple, as though moonlight were bending around something that wasn't quite there. Harry squinted gently. That's new. Ron took another step. The shimmer responded, a faint pulse, like a heartbeat that barely stirred the air. Then, softly, a shop door appeared. Not suddenly, not abruptly. It eased into existence, the way a dream forms when you're drifting off to sleep. The wooden frame grew clearer, its edges sharpening in the moonlight. A frosted window settled into place, then the warm outline of shelves behind it. Golden lantern light flickered inside, dim, sleepy, but alive. Hermione breathed in slowly. A shop, materializing out of nowhere, but nothing about it felt frightening. In fact, the moment was as gentle as snow settling on moss. The door looked old, but lovingly cared for, with delicate carvings of swirling leaves and tiny stars along the frame. A small hanging sign swayed above it, though the letters were faint, faded with age. Ron approached the window, drawn as though in a soft trance. The glass was frosted, but he could make out the faint glow of candlelight, the shadows of long shelves, and something else. Wands. Rows and rows of wands. Some curled in thin spirals of silver smoke, others rested quietly, as though in a deep slumber. "This is," Hermione whispered, A wand shop. Harry stepped beside Ron, resting a hand lightly against the glass. But Hogsmeade doesn't have a wand shop. Yeah, Ron said softly. It never has. A quiet creak sounded, almost too soft to notice. The door, without anyone touching it, drifted open just a little, not wide, just enough to mimic a gentle invitation. The three friends exchanged calm, steady looks. No alarms, Hermione said softly. No strange sounds, no magical pressure. Feels peaceful, Harry murmured. And warm, Ron added. Indeed, a soft warmth floated from the doorway, brushing their cheeks like the gentle touch of a hearth fire. It carried a scent too, faint cedarwood, parchment, old magic recitating under layers of time. Ron stepped forward first, guided not by excitement, but by that quiet tug he had felt all evening. Harry and Hermione followed closely, calm and curious. When they pushed the door open, it didn't groan or squeal. It simply moved aside with the hush of silk. Inside, the shop welcomed them with muted golden light. Dust floated lazily through the warm air, undisturbed and dreamy. Shelves lined the walls from floor to ceiling, each packed with wands arranged in careful, delicate order. Some boxes were ancient, wrapped in faded ribbons. Some were newer, though still touched by age. But the most captivating thing was the silence. Not empty silence, but a soft, magical hush that felt like the store was breathing quietly in its sleep. Hermione ran her fingers lightly along a nearby shelf. It's beautiful, she whispered, like it's been waiting. Harry nodded, his voice gentle, waiting for someone to open it again. Ron felt something stir inside him, not fear, not excitement, but recognition, as though a distant memory were brushing against the edge of his thoughts. And then it happened. A wand, tucked neatly between two boxes, shifted. Not abruptly, it moved so slowly, with such subtle ease that for a moment Ron thought he imagined it. But the wand rolled forward, just a fraction, stopping at the edge of the shelf. A faint glow gathered around it, soft, silvery white, like moonlight settling onto polished wood. Hermione inhaled softly. Ron, it's reacting to you. Harry stepped closer. Touch it. Ron hesitated only a moment, then reached out. His fingers brushed the wood, warm, smooth, almost alive. And the moment he touched it, a soft wave spread through the room. The lanterns dimmed, then brightened gently. The air shimmered with a delicate hum, not loud, not sharp, but soothing, like a lullaby sung by magic itself. Then a whisper drifted through the air. Not a voice, not a sound, more like the memory of a voice, a breath against the edges of silence. Ron's eyes widened slightly, but he remained calm, letting the whisper brush past him like a breeze carrying secrets. It didn't frighten him, it intrigued him. Hermione looked around gently. Did you hear that? Harry nodded slowly. Yeah, like something trying to speak. The whisper brushed through the room again, soft, airy, warm. It circled around them in a slow, drifting sweep, touching shelves, lanterns, dust motes, before settling near Ron's hand again. This time, The whisper formed a faint shape, letters glimmering like silver mist in the air above the wand. Welcome back. Hermione's hand rose to her mouth softly. Back? But Ron has never. The letters dissolved into mist before she could finish. Ron swallowed gently. I think this place remembers something. The lantern swayed with a peaceful glow, as though agreeing. Outside, the snow continued falling with quiet grace. Inside, the forgotten shop breathed with ancient warmth. The magical event had begun, not loudly, not suddenly, but with the soft whisper of a place long hidden, now waking gently because Ron Weasley had stepped inside. And though they did not yet understand why, the shop certainly did. The warm golden glow of the lanterns continued to sway gently, filling the forgotten wand shop with a calm, almost sleepy shimmer. Dust still floated like slow-moving stars in the quiet air, drifting lazily around the trio as they stood near the shelf where the wand had moved for Ron. Everything felt wrapped in the same soft magic that had guided them here, as though the shop itself was slowly waking up after a very long slumber. Ron held the wand loosely now, turning it over in his hand. It was a simple-looking wand, pale wood with thin silver veining that only revealed itself when the lantern light brushed across it. Despite its plain appearance, it carried a warmth deeper than any wand he'd touched before. Not a spark, not a surge, just a steady, comforting hum, like the rhythm of a resting heartbeat. Hermione watched it quietly. It's responding to you, she whispered, the soft wonder in her voice sounding almost like part of the shop itself. It's gentle, but there's something old in it, something that's been waiting. Ron gave a tiny shrug. Well, I didn't do anything special. Harry stepped a bit closer. Maybe you didn't need to. Maybe it just needed someone familiar. The whispering glow that had spelled welcome back earlier began to gather again, but instead of forming words, it drifted toward the far end of the shop. Slowly, gracefully, it touched an old wooden counter covered in layers of dust. The dust lifted in a soft spiral, sparkling like tiny golden fireflies caught in a sleepy breeze. Hermione noticed immediately. It's leading us somewhere. Ron nodded. Then let's follow, I guess. They walked deeper into the shop, not hurriedly, not cautiously, but with the same calm curiosity that had guided them through the night. Every shelf they passed seemed to warm slightly as they approached, as though recognizing the presence of visitors for the first time in years. The wands stayed still, but Harry could feel their quiet attentiveness, as if every piece of wood and core inside the shop was listening. The silver mist drifted past the counter, swirled around an old curtain at the back of the room, and gently tugged its edges aside. Behind it was a narrow doorway. Hermione blinked softly. This wasn't here before. It probably was, Harry murmured, just hidden. Ron raised the softly glowing wand. Well then, shall we? The trio stepped through the doorway, entering a long, narrow corridor. It was dimmer than the main room, with only a faint bluish shimmer guiding their steps. The walls were lined with portraits, but the portraits were asleep, their painted figures resting peacefully eyes closed, chests rising and falling in slow, dreamlike breaths. Hermione's voice floated gently down the hall. Even the portraits are sleeping. Harry ran his fingers along one of the frames. Feels like the whole place is under a spell of rest. Ron nodded, his voice soft. Guess we're the alarm clock then. As they moved deeper into the corridor, Ron's wand gave a gentle vibration, a small hum that traveled up his arm like a whisper of warmth. It wasn't alarming, it was more like a guiding touch, nudging him forward, asking him to pay attention. They reached the end of the hallway. There, under an arched wooden beam, stood a second room, a small room, a forgotten room. The lanterns inside flickered awake, as though sensing their presence, glowing with soft shades of blue and gold. The shelves here weren't filled with wands. Instead, they held books, ancient books with cracked leather covers, stacks of parchment, faded ribbons, and dusty quill holders. But at the center of the room was something truly unexpected. A pedestal, and on that pedestal, a wand. It was unlike any wand they had ever seen, thin as a reed, dark as midnight, and carved with tiny runes that glowed faintly in shifting colors, blue, green, silver, like soft echoing breaths of magic. But the most striking part wasn't the wand itself, it was the feeling. A soft hum filled the room, deep, steady, soothing, and ancient enough to feel like the heartbeat of magic itself. Ron felt it first, a warmth that wrapped around him like a blanket. Hermione felt it next, a calm, welcoming intelligence that seemed to reach out, curious but gentle. Harry felt it last, a soft echo of a memory, something he couldn't quite place, something that felt older than Hogwarts, older than anything he had touched before. Hermione whispered, almost reverently, This is no ordinary wand." Harry nodded slowly. "Feels like it's alive." Ron stepped closer, drawn again by that quiet internal pull. The wand he held in his hand glowed faintly in response, as though acknowledging its ancient counterpart resting on the pedestal. The room felt as though it were holding its breath. Ron reached out a hand, slowly, calmly, and before his fingers touched the wand, the runes lit up in a gentle spiral of light, not bright enough to startle them, not loud enough to rush their breaths, just a quiet unveiling, as if the wand were opening its eyes for the first time in a century. Soft whispers filled the room, dozens of them, not frightening, not chaotic, more like soft echoes of lingering memories. Hermione leaned closer. "Listen, it's whispering." The whispers grew clearer, still quiet, still soothing. A name formed, not spoken aloud, but drifting gently through the air like a warm breeze. Rowena. Ron's breath caught softly. Rowena Ravenclaw. Hermione nodded slowly. This must have belonged to someone connected to her, someone ancient. Look at the runes, they're Ravenclaw symbols. The whispers swirled again, softer this time, drifting from the ancient wand toward the one in Ron's hand. The two glows touched for just a moment, blue light brushing against silver. Then something unexpected happened. The room changed, not physically, not abruptly, but atmospherically. The glow from the shelves deepened into a soft, deep blue. The dust motes gathered into delicate spirals. The lanterns hummed in harmony with the runes on the wand. A soft pulse traveled through the air. Breathe, stay, listen. Harry whispered, "It's showing us something." The walls around them shimmered faintly. The edges of the shelves blurred. A gentle film of magic drifted over the room, settling around them like a dream forming. Then the vision came. Not sharp, not overwhelming. A slow, calm unfolding, like pages turning in a centuries-old book. They saw the forgotten wand shop as it once had been, warm, lively, filled with apprentices carefully crafting wands under a gentle, watchful master. They saw Ravenclaw students stepping inside, guided by soft whispers of intuition. They saw the dark wand on the pedestal glowing brightly, selecting only those who carried deep curiosity and true intention. They saw its last owner, a young witch with robes marked by the Ravenclaw crest, eyes full of wisdom and kindness. She placed the wand gently onto the pedestal before leaving, whispering something to it, something the vision couldn't quite echo. Then the room faded back into the gentle glow of the present. Ron exhaled slowly, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's showing us its history, like it wanted us to know." Hermione brushed her fingertips over the carved runes. "It remembers everything, every owner, every choice, every spell, and it only reveals itself when the right person enters." Harry looked at Ron with quiet understanding, and right now, that person might be you. The ancient wand pulsed softly, as though acknowledging the truth in Harry's voice. The gentle hum deepened, not in volume, but in warmth. Ron stared at it, his eyes calm. "But why me? I'm not the best at anything." Hermione turned to him, her voice warm and steady. "You are exactly what this wand recognizes, someone with a loyal heart, steady courage, and the kind of curiosity that doesn't come from book knowledge, but from wondering about the world in your own quiet way." Harry nodded. "It didn't pull you here by mistake." Ron swallowed gently. His wand, the one he found on the shelf, glowed again, this time forming a small arc of silver light that drifted toward the ancient wand. The two lights touched, and with that touch, a soft warmth filled the entire shop, a feeling like a gentle embrace, ancient and wise. The whisper came one last time, so faint it was almost part of the air itself. "Chosen. Again." Ron closed his eyes, breathing in the gentle magic. The second twist had revealed itself not through chaos, but through an ancient wand waking after centuries, because someone it trusted had finally stepped through the door. The gentle warmth lingered in the air long after the ancient wand's glow faded back into its resting pulse. Ron kept staring at the pedestal, his expression soft, somewhere between awe and a kind of peaceful confusion. Harry and Hermione stood on either side of him, both quiet, as though speaking too loudly might disturb the delicate magic that still hovered like mist around the room. The lanterns continued their slow sway, casting ripples of light along the shelves. Dust motes drifted lazily through the soft blue glow, giving the illusion that the entire room was underwater, floating in a dreamy hush where time preferred to rest rather than move. Ron exhaled slowly. "I still don't get it," he murmured, careful not to break the gentle quiet. "It chose me. But what does it want me to do?" Hermione gave a small smile, one filled with warmth and thoughtfulness. "Not everything ancient has a task for you, Ron." Her voice flowed gently through the room. "Sometimes magic just wants to be known, to be seen." Harry nodded. "Or maybe it wants to remember, and you helped it do that." Ron looked down at the old wand resting safely on the pedestal. It pulsed again, just once, as if acknowledging his presence. That soft glow drifted into the air and slowly floated toward the doorway. Hermione's eyes widened a little. "It's guiding us again." The three of them followed the glow slowly, almost instinctively. The dusty air warmed with each step, and the soft magic felt like a comforting hand resting on their shoulders, encouraging them forward without rushing them. The glow moved down the corridor lined with sleeping portraits. One or two portraits stirred slightly as the glowing mist passed them. Their painted eyes fluttered open for a brief moment, not fully awake, but aware enough to sense something familiar moving through their quiet slumber. Hermione whispered, "Even the portraits are responding. That means something ancient is truly awake." As they reached the threshold into the main wand room, Ron paused and glanced back. "Do you think the wand wants us to follow it outside?" Harry shook his head softly. "No, it doesn't feel like it wants us to leave the shop. It feels centered here." Hermione stepped into the main room and gasped gently. The shelves had changed, subtly, softly. The wands were glowing, each one faintly, like stars in early twilight. Not bright, not alarming, just a gentle shimmer, as though greeting a long-lost friend. Ron blinked. "Whoa, they weren't doing that before." Harry moved closer. They're reacting to the ancient wand waking up. Hermione's eyes traced the soft blue pulses along the shelves. They're remembering too. Maybe this shop wasn't just forgotten. It was sealed, preserved, waiting for this moment. For the first time, they noticed something new. Small trails of silver light moving between the shelves, weaving in graceful arcs like drifting threads. The trails formed gentle patterns, swirling, looping, then stretching toward the ceiling. The trio watched, mesmerized, as the patterns slowly arranged themselves into a shape. Faint at first, then clearer. A star, a Ravenclaw star, the same symbol carved into the runes of the ancient wand. Hermione's voice scarcely made a sound. "It's showing us the mark of its lineage," Harry added softly, "or the key to understanding the magic here." The star rotated slowly in the air before dissolving into soft, weightless sparks that fell around them like quiet snowfall. Ron brushed a spark off his sleeve. "Feels like the place is welcoming us." Hermione nodded. "It trusts us." Another soft movement caught Ron's eye. In the far right corner of the shop, where the shelves met the old wooden wall, a faint shimmer pulsed, something hidden beneath the dust. They walked over slowly, the floorboards creaking softly under their feet. Ron knelt first, brushing a gentle hand over the floorboards. Beneath the dust, an engraved symbol began to appear, matching the soft blue glow of the floating patterns earlier. Harry knelt beside him. It's the same Ravenclaw star. Hermione traced it with her fingertips. Maybe it's another door. Ron frowned softly. But it's on the floor. Not a door, Hermione murmured. More like a seal. The seal pulsed once, twice, then vanished into the wood as though sinking deeper into the floor. A soft tremor followed, gentle enough to feel like the room shifting in its sleep. Then the entire floor shimmered with faint carvings. Lines, curves, circles, a map. The floor had become a map, a blueprint of the forgotten wand shop. Every shelf, every bench, every hidden room, but one part of the map glowed brighter than the rest, a small circular space beneath the shop. Hermione leaned in closer. There's a room under us. Harry nodded. A hidden room. Ron looked from the map to the pedestal where the ancient wand rested, and maybe that wand can open it. As if hearing him, the wand glowed again, soft, steady, protective. Hermione took a calming breath, her voice quiet, almost like a lullaby. We should check the shop for an entrance, something that connects to this circle. So they began searching, slowly, gently, letting the glow guide them. They checked along the walls, around the shelves, beneath the counter. Each step revealed little clues, faint patterns in the wood, soft warmth from the floorboards, delicate whispers from the air that seemed to say, closer, closer, here. Finally, Ron paused near the base of the pedestal. The ancient wand gave a gentle vibration, not alarming, just a soft shimmer. Ron crouched. I think it's right here. Hermione knelt beside him. Look, engraved lines, just like on the map. Harry carefully brushed away dust until a faint circular outline became visible, a hidden door carved into the floor. Hermione's breath caught softly. This is it, the hidden room. Ron looked toward the pedestal. So what do we do now? Asked the wand. Harry chuckled quietly. Seems like the wand already knows. The ancient wand rose gently into the air, not abruptly, not dramatically, just a soft, effortless float, like a feather suspended by a warm breeze. Ron stood slowly, watching in awe as the wand drifted toward the hidden door. It hovered above the carved circle and then dipped gracefully, touching the wood with its tip. The carvings around the door lit up, glowing like traced moonlight. A gentle click sounded, another click. Then the wooden circle slid open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into a cool, blue-lit chamber below. Hermione whispered, So this is where the true secret lies. Harry peered down the staircase, sensing the calm magic wafting upward like a soft breeze from a quiet lake. It feels peaceful. Ron nodded, feeling the warmth of both wands echoing through him. Then let's go. They descended quietly, each step taking them deeper into a chamber that felt like the heart of the wand shop, its pulse slow, ancient, serene. Lanterns along the walls flickered awake as they approached, casting soft reflections on thick stone walls. At the center of the chamber stood a round table carved with elegant spiral patterns, and on it lay a single object, a small wooden box, no bigger than both hands, engraved with Ravenclaw runes. Hermione stepped closer. This must be the final piece, the source of the echo we felt. Harry nodded. and the wand wanted us to find it. Ron approached slowly. Do we open it? Hermione placed a gentle hand over his. Together, the three of them lifted the lid softly, allowing the moment to unfold at its own calm pace. Inside the box was a small glass figurine, no bigger than a quill stand, shaped like a swirling column of wind frozen in time. It glowed softly, pulsing with the same warmth as the ancient wand. Hermione whispered, This is a memory anchor." Harry blinked. "A what?" "A magical device," she breathed. "Created centuries ago. It stores emotions, intentions, memories, not just facts, but the essence of a place." Ron stared softly. The wand shop's memories. Harry nodded. Everything it forgot. Everything it protected. Hermione looked around the glowing chamber. This was never a regular wand shop. It was a sanctuary, passed through Ravenclaw hands for generations, built to keep the magic of wand lore safe when the world became uncertain. Ron held the ancient wand gently, and it waited for someone to find it again. The chamber glowed brighter, but still soft, never overwhelming. The lights wrapped around them like a quiet embrace, blessing them for discovering forgotten magic with patience and kindness. The gentle suspense had brought them here, not through fear, but through curiosity, peace, and trust. And now, the hidden truth lay before them, waiting for the next step in their calm, dreamy journey. A gentle stillness embraced the hidden chamber as the soft glow from the memory anchor floated upward, illuminating the walls in waves of pale blue. The chamber was peaceful, so peaceful that the air felt warmer with every breath, as though the room itself welcomed their presence with quiet gratitude. Harry, Hermione, and Ron stood around the glowing figurine, each of them taking in the gentle pulse of magic that radiated from it, like the heartbeat of something very old and very wise. For a long moment, nobody spoke. They didn't need to. The chamber hummed softly, a calm melody of ancient wandcraft, whispering without sound. The quietness was soothing rather than eerie, wrapping around them like the hush of falling snow. Hermione was the first to move, stepping slowly toward the runes carved along the chamber's circular walls. Each symbol shimmered faintly under her touch. "These are Ravenclaw symbols," she murmured, her voice gentle, as if speaking too loudly might disturb the magic. "But not the common ones. These are deeper, older. They describe intention." She traced a spiral rune lightly. "This one means purpose, and this one..." Her fingers moved to a star-shaped marking. "This represents memory." Harry watched her with thoughtful calm. "So this room, it keeps memories safe?" Hermione nodded softly. "Not memories of people, memories of magic, wand lore, emotions woven into spells. This chamber reflects the heart of wand making itself." Ron shifted closer to the pedestal where the ancient wand hovered calmly, its glow steady and reassuring. "So why did the wand show itself to us? Why now?" Hermione turned, her expression warm and reflective. "Because you listened, Ron. The wand called, and you didn't ignore it. Sometimes magic appears only when someone is willing to approach it with wonder instead of fear." Ron blushed faintly, but there was a gentle pride in his smile. The trio stood together, taking in the chamber's serenity. The soft blue glow made the walls shimmer like moonlit water. The ceiling arched high above them, carved with spiraling patterns that drew the eye upward as though encouraging reflection. Harry eventually broke the quiet. "We should explore the chamber. The wand led us here for a reason." Hermione nodded. "Let's look around, carefully. This place is delicate. Its magic feels old and sleepy." They spread out slowly, their footsteps soft against the stone. Ron wandered toward a small alcove carved into the wall. It held a collection of tiny wooden drawers, each with a different rune. He pulled one open gently. Inside lay a small roll of parchment tied with deep blue ribbon. He unrolled it, revealing elegant handwriting. "Look at this," he called softly. Harry and Hermione joined him. The parchment held a single line of writing. "Magic remembers when people forget." Hermione breathed slowly, absorbing the words. "It's a guiding principle one wandmakers cherished. They believed that true enchantments leave imprints, echoes that remain even when history fades." Ron traced the edge of the parchment. "Feels like the shop wanted to remind us of that." Harry smiled faintly, or remind itself. Meanwhile, the memory anchor remained on the central table, glowing steadily like a lantern guiding their thoughts. The ancient wand hovered nearby, tilting gently as if watching them with quiet patience. Hermione approached the anchor again. "We can't open or activate it without knowing its purpose," she said softly. "Memory anchors are meant to be protected, not forced." Ron nodded. "So what do we do with it?" Harry stepped closer, his expression calm and thoughtful. "Maybe we don't use it. Maybe we learn from it." Hermione smiled gently. "Yes, maybe that's the real reason we were brought here." They continued their exploration. Harry found another alcove tucked beneath a curved archway. Inside lay a dried quill, fragile, ancient, but glowing faintly with the same soft blue. He lifted it with care, feeling its feather-light weight. "What do you think this is?" he asked. Hermione examined it closely. "A wandmaker's quill, used for writing enchantments, not on parchment, but on the wands themselves. They didn't carve runes, they wrote them with magic." Ron blinked. "Wrote on the wand? Like ink that disappears?" She nodded. "Ink that sinks into the wood and changes its nature." Harry set the quill gently back into its resting place. "Everything here is tied to memory." As they walked, subtle whispers drifted through the chamber, not voices, but impressions, feelings, gentle recollections, a distant warmth, like a friendly hand brushing their shoulders. A sense of gratitude, a peaceful hum of magic, long asleep and now quietly waking. Hermione paused near the far wall where a tall, narrow mirror stood, dusty but intact. She brushed her fingertips across the glass, and it shimmered faintly. Ron frowned softly. "Is it enchanted?" Hermione tilted her head, studying it. "Not like a normal magical mirror. This one reflects potential, not people, not futures, but choices." Ron blinked. "Choices?" Hermione nodded. "Watch." When she stepped back, the mirror shimmered again. Instead of reflecting her face, it showed something soft and dreamlike. The three of them standing together, just as they were now, but surrounded by gentle blue wisps of magic, as though wrapped in the chamber's memory. Harry exhaled quietly. It shows us how the shop sees us. Ron's voice softened. It's welcoming us. The reflection faded gently, leaving the simple mirror behind. Hermione turned toward the center of the room. I think we've seen what we need to. The room is showing us not what to take, but what to understand. Harry looked around, feeling the calmness settle even deeper in his chest. So the question is, what do we do next? Ron looked from the mirror to the memory anchor, then to the ancient wand still floating nearby. His voice was soft but steady. We choose how to honor this place. Hermione nodded, warmed by the quiet wisdom in his words. We could leave everything untouched, preserve the shop exactly as we found it. Harry considered that. Or we could awaken the rest of the shop, restore it gently, let it breathe again. Ron looked at them with thoughtful eyes. What do you two want? Harry smiled softly. I think the shop called to us because it wanted to be remembered, not abandoned. Hermione placed a hand over the memory anchor, its soft glow warming her palm. Letting it sleep again would keep it safe, but awakening it carefully might help the magic settle back into the world in the slow, gentle way it wants. Ron nodded. So we help it wake up, slowly, kindly. A peaceful silence followed as all three of them stood in agreement. The ancient wand pulsed in approval, soft, rhythmic, like the beat of a dreamer's heart. Hermione's voice remained gentle. We'll awaken the shop with respect, not to use it, but to let it be alive again. Harry smiled. That's our choice, then. Ron straightened with a calm breath. Let's do it. And together, unhurried, thoughtful, and wrapped in the soft glow of ancient magic, they prepared to take the next gentle step toward awakening the forgotten wand shop. A peaceful stillness settled over the chamber as Harry, Ron, and Hermione gathered before the floating wand and the gently glowing memory anchor. The blue light that filled the room seemed to breathe, growing softer, then brighter, as though responding to their collective intention. Nothing rushed, nothing pushed. The space felt alive in its own sleepy way, listening patiently. Hermione stepped forward first, her expression warm with understanding rather than urgency. She rested her fingertips lightly on the edge of the pedestal where the anchor floated. If this room remembers magic, she whispered, then maybe it also remembers the wandmaker who created it. The memory anchor brightened at her words, its surface swirling like water touched by moonlight. Harry and Ron exchanged quiet glances, but remained still, allowing the chamber to guide them gently. A ripple passed through the air, no sound, no rush of wind, just a soft shift, like a dream turning a page. The blue glow deepened into a calmer shade, embracing them in a cocoon of warmth. And then the memory began, not as a projection or a vision, but as a gentle blossoming of impressions, images woven into the air in translucent strands of magic. The chamber filled with soft silhouettes that moved slowly, gracefully. A figure emerged, tall, slender, wearing robes that rippled like quiet waves. His hair flowed like pale silver, and his eyes held the kind of depth that came only from someone who had spent a lifetime listening to magic rather than commanding it. He was not fully solid. He shimmered like a memory preserved in starlight. Hermione inhaled softly. The wandmaker. The memory figure's voice drifted through the room, smooth and calm, like a lullaby forgotten by time. If you are seeing this, then you have been gentle, you have walked with care, and you have listened to what most overlook. Ron's expression softened. He sounds like he's speaking right to us. Harry nodded quietly, letting the calm voice fill the space. The memory figure continued, his presence steady and warm. My name is Aldarian Bramblethorn, last of the silent wand makers. For centuries, our craft relied not on the power we placed within wands, but on the memories we wove into them. Every wand carried a story. Every story held a purpose. Hermione's eyes glowed with fascination. Silent wand makers. I've read small references to them, but nothing this detailed. Harry smiled softly. Looks like you're getting the full history now. The memory figure, Aldarion, raised his hands, and images formed around him, wands of different woods and cores, glowing with quiet blue light. Each emitted a faint whisper, not of words, but of feelings, warmth, courage, comfort. Magic, Aldarion said, is alive. It listens. It remembers. Its strength comes not from force, but from intention. Hermione placed a hand on her heart as the truth of those words settled over her. Ron murmured, "It feels like he's teaching us." Aldarion continued, "I created this shop as a refuge for forgotten magic, a place where lost enchantments might sleep safely until the world was ready to hold them gently again." The chamber pulsed softly, glowing with gratitude. Aldarion's form shifted to reveal an image of the shop bustling long ago. Lights warm, shelves overflowing, children laughing as wand sparks twinkled like sleepy stars. Then the scene softened, fading into quieter years. The door closed, the magic dimmed, and the shop drifted into silence. When my time came to leave, Aldarion whispered, I sealed this place away, not out of fear, but out of hope. I believed that someday someone would find this room with the right kind of heart. Harry felt warmth rise in his chest, gentle, grounding, peaceful. Aldarion's gaze lifted toward them, soft as candle glow. If you are here now, then you are those people. Ron blinked with a quiet astonishment. Hermione's fingers curled lightly around Harry's hand, steady and warm. The memories shifted again, revealing the floating wand, the very same one hovering before them now. Aldarion spoke. This wand, the last I ever crafted, contains no spell, no enchantment, no command. Instead, it carries a memory of kindness, patience, and the quiet courage of those who seek understanding before power. Hermione whispered, It's a wand meant for harmony. Harry nodded, a wand that doesn't want to be used, only remembered. The anchor glowed brighter, resonating with their realization. Aldarion's image softened as if preparing to fade, but his final words floated through the chamber with lingering warmth. If you choose to awaken this shop, do so not to reclaim the magic, but to honor it. Let it breathe again. Let it whisper its stories. Let it live quietly in the corners of the world, touching those who walk with gentle hearts. Ron exhaled, steady and thoughtful. He's giving us permission. Hermione nodded, eyes shimmering with admiration and guidance. The memory dissolves, drifting away like mist under morning sunlight. The chamber returns to its gentle glow, the silence deep and comforting rather than empty. Harry steps closer to the wand. So the choice we made earlier, it was the right one. Hermione smiles warmly. We're not here to claim magic. We're here to remember it. Ron chuckles softly. Well, remembering is something we can definitely do. The wand begins to glow softly. No sparks, no blasts, just a warm, rhythmic light, like a heartbeat syncing with theirs. The chamber responds in kind, its walls brightening as if smiling. Hermione lifts her palm toward the wand. Together, then, she whispers. Ron and Harry join her, their hands hovering near the soft glow. They move with no rush, no pressure, only calm unity. The chamber pulses one last time. A gentle wave of blue light flows outward, not loud, not powerful, but soft as a lullaby. It drifts down the hallways of the forgotten shop, awakening shelves, dusted counters, tiny drawers with silent memories, and the quiet heartbeat of old enchantments. Every corner lights up in a peaceful hush. The shop breathes again, alive, but sleepy, awake, but gentle. Harry, Ron, and Hermione stand silently, bathed in the soft glow of a magic that asks for nothing more than to be remembered. The revelation settles into their hearts. Some magic is not meant to be wielded. Some magic is meant to be honored. Some magic simply wants to exist quietly, peacefully, like a dream that never fades. And the three friends knew, without doubt, that they had brought the forgotten wand shop back to life, exactly the way Aldarion had hoped they would. The soft wave of blue light faded into a gentle glow that settled over the chamber like a warm blanket. Harry, Ron, and Hermione stood quietly, letting the stillness wash through them. Nothing buzzed or pulsed now. Nothing demanded action. The room felt peacefully awake, like a creature stretching after a long, restful slumber. The ancient wand drifted downward until it hovered just a few inches above the pedestal. It no longer needed to summon visions or swirl with enchantment. Its glow had softened into something steady and content, like a candle slowly dimming after fulfilling its purpose. Hermione brushed her fingertips over the polished stone beside it. "It's calm now," she whispered, voice warm and thoughtful, like it's finally settled. Ron nodded gently. Feels like the whole shop let out a huge sigh of relief. Harry smiled softly at the idea. The chamber didn't feel heavy or mysterious anymore. Instead, it carried the quiet atmosphere of a library after closing, peaceful, safe, familiar, a place meant to rest rather than impress. They began moving around the room again, this time with lighter steps. The shelves that once felt eerie now seemed friendly, each drawer glowing softly from within as if acknowledging their presence. Tiny blue runes shimmered like sleepy fireflies. Hermione paused at one shelf where a wooden box sat half open. It wasn't glowing, sparking, or calling to her. It simply rested there, waiting with gentle patience. She closed the lid with the same care one uses to tuck in a child before sleep. "There," she murmured, "everything in its place." Ron wandered toward the alcove that held parchment rolls and enchanted quills. The dried quill they'd found earlier no longer glimmered with faint magic, but it still held a soft presence, like an elder grateful to have been listened to. He arranged the parchment neatly beside it and exhaled a long, slow breath. "We didn't change much," Ron said, "but somehow it feels better." Harry nodded. Sometimes restoring something isn't about fixing it, it's about recognizing it. Hermione turned, her curls glowing under the chamber's soft light, and honoring it. They gathered once more near the center, where the memory anchor floated in a slow, sleepy circle. Its glow had settled to a low, steady hum, an echo of gratitude. When Hermione reached out, the anchor responded by drifting slightly closer, almost nuzzling her hand with warmth. "It understands," she said softly. Harry smiled. "We didn't take anything from this place." Ron finished for him. "We just reminded it wasn't forgotten." A warm, almost imperceptible draft drifted through the room then, like the shop itself exhaling in comfort. A few faint lights flickered gently along the ceiling, soft blue stars blinking awake for a moment before dimming again. "The shop is dreaming," Hermione whispered, closing her eyes for a brief moment, dreaming in a way only magic can. They took one last slow walk around the space. Every alcove, every drawer, every shelf felt wrapped in a deep quietness that was soothing rather than mysterious. The forgotten wand shop had transformed from a relic of secrecy into a sanctuary of gentle enchantment, and they had been part of that transformation. At the foot of the spiral stone staircase leading back to the shop's upper level, they paused. The faint wooden walls above carried a low glow, as if the whole building had awakened, or rather, peacefully stirred. Ron looked back one more time, his expression soft and thoughtful. "Do you think anyone else will stumble in here someday?" Hermione nodded gently. "Maybe, but only if they're meant to. Places like this choose their visitors." Harry rested a hand on the railing, and if they do, they'll feel what we felt. Ron smiled, and hopefully they'll be gentle too. Harry, Hermione, and Ron ascended the staircase slowly, their footsteps quiet and unhurried. When they emerged into the small shop above, the dusty counters glowed faintly, with the same soft hue as the chamber below. The shelves seemed less shadowy, the air warmer. The old worn sign above the door, once dull and lifeless, now shimmered faintly in the candlelight. It didn't advertise, it didn't boast, it simply existed, its quiet magic humming through the wooden grain. "It's beautiful," Hermione whispered. Harry nodded, alive again. They stepped outside into the calm, snowy night. The air was crisp but gentle, the snowflakes drifting down silently like feathers from a sleepy sky. The streets of Hogsmeade were empty, peaceful, wrapped in the tranquility of winter. As they walked back toward Hogwarts, the forgotten wand shop faded behind them into a quiet silhouette. It wasn't haunting or lonely now. It was simply resting, dreaming of wands, memories, and the quiet hands that had awakened it. Hermione tucked her scarf closer. "We'll remember this night." Ron smiled. "So will the shop." And Harry, gazing back one last time at the faint, glowing window, whispered softly, "Some magic doesn't need to be grand. Sometimes it only needs to be seen." The snow continued to fall, slow and gentle, as they made their peaceful journey home, hearts lighter, steps softer, and the night calm all around them. The path back to Hogwarts glowed softly beneath the falling snow, each footprint filling gently behind them as if the night were smoothing the world into calmness once more. Harry, Ron, and Hermione walked slowly, their breaths rising in warm clouds that mingled with the peaceful hush of winter. No urgency pulled at them now, only the steady comfort of returning to a place that felt like home. Harry walked a little slower, letting the soft crunch of snow accompany his thoughts. "Some magic isn't meant to be loud or powerful," he said gently. "Some magic is meant for nights like this, quiet, thoughtful, and full of wonder." They stepped through the castle doors, welcomed by soft warmth spilling from enchanted lanterns. The halls were quiet, comfortably so, and the echo of their footsteps blended into the gentle heartbeat of Hogwarts itself. As they parted ways toward their dormitories, the night settled back into stillness. Beyond the windows, snow drifted lazily across the grounds. Somewhere in Hogsmeade, a small forgotten wand shop slept peacefully, dreaming its quiet, ancient dreams. And as you, dear listener, drift gently toward your own rest, know that some part of Hogwarts rests with you too, soft, safe, warm, and full of quiet magic that watches over you long after the story ends. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let the calm settle in. Tonight, like Hogwarts, you are wrapped in peace,